I would like to talk to her about, really, about what has happened in the past and the fact that we do need protection around children who are homosexual or gay or whatever you want to call it. But we also need protection around other communities and their cultural norms. Why is homosexuality being forced? The ideology being forced. It's extremely shocking and distressing to people who are from communities that are traditional and very conservative to have a child come home and say, "Mommy, I'm not a boy, I'm a girl." And if you can't trust your school system where you're paying taxes, why should we pay taxes into this?
Parents are taking back the streets. Parents are taking back their rights. The children belong to parents, not to the government. Parents, our children need to be protected. A convicted child pornographer in Canada and other countries. Where else is this person being convicted? Enough is enough, and this is what you're seeing. People have had enough. Enough is enough.
The curriculum is said to be focused on the inclusion of a group in the community, which is a fair point, but it also represents the needs of below 1%, a group that's smaller than 1% of the overall children in Ontario. That leaves a lot of groups, minority groups who are much larger, not being taken into consideration. For example, I've been approached by parents from special needs children who are asking, what is the ministry currently doing? What programs are being implemented to ensure that our children inclusion is taken into consideration, that our children will not be harassed and bullied? And what is being done right now to deal with the current budget cuts and still make sure there are programs to support the needs of our children? This is a question that remains to be answered. A large group of parents from different parts of the province, from different ethnic communities, we got together, we reviewed the curriculum, we identified the issues that are of concern to us. And those are the issues that we feel are not scientifically backed. We looked at a lot of research and used the advice of education consultants. And we concluded that these points are points of concern because they are not supported. And we expect better from the ministry because the well-being of our children should be their utmost priority. The first point is about feeling that the curriculum is diminishing the role of parents and cultural belonging. The second point, really, that concerns all of us is the age-inappropriate material. Now, another observation is that the curriculum is omitting a lot of very important facts. For example, the STI statistics, Canadian laws, reference to the minimum age for consent or the minimum age for certain sexual activities is not there. For example, we need to be telling our children that safe sex is not 100% safe, because when we omit this information, we're basically giving them half facts that is encouraging them to undertake certain sexual activities, high-risk activities, when they believe they are protected. And this is really not fair and not right for the well-being of our children. So
what is happening now, the protest outside and the protests that are happening right now, I believe to some extent are happening in the absence of information. So it's very important. One of the things I said tonight is that I hope that people will have the opportunity to speak to their local MPPs, to get information online about the new curriculum, and then have a chance to read the curriculum. I know that all the people outside and the people who are concerned about this love their children and want to protect their children. I know that's why they are protesting. And we live in a beautiful country where we all have the opportunity to protest. The reality is that the protest that was being led out there tonight is being led by a Conservative candidate. This is not a partisan issue. When people were shouting at me, "No more Liberals," that's not the point. The point is that this is about protecting our children, and I don't care who the Premier in Ontario was, whether it was a Liberal or a Conservative or a New Democrat. This is the right thing to do, to make sure that we have updated curriculum to protect our children.
مشاهدينا أهلا وسهلا فيكم. معنا الآن رئيسة Ontario, Kathleen Wynne, Premier of Ontario. Premier Wynne, thank you very much for having us today. We have seen a short video, comments from parents. What would you tell them?
Well, so I started to say before the break that you know, this curriculum is about creating a safe environment for all of our students. And so in every classroom in Ontario, there are kids from different backgrounds. There are kids with different colored skin. There are kids who speak different languages at home, and there are kids who come from families that are configured differently. So, so it's very important that children understand that there is difference, and that there's difference within their own group of classmates. In terms of some of the questions that the parents raised, I talked about special education. We are committed to providing services for kids with special needs. And again, it's one of the things that people from other parts of the world come to see how we deal with the diversity in our schools.
Okay, I do have a few comments that I received on Facebook. Sure. I'm going to read some of them to you. We have one comment from Dina. Why should my 6-year-old know about sex? The word alone is too early to explain to kids for 6 years old. Also, I don't want my daughter to have to set pictures of private organs like what they want to show. Like, let's see, talk about grade 1. They're going to be learning about the private parts. Why at that early age they should learn those words like testicles, vulva? Why not stick to what they call it, like a bum or weenie, and then when they get more older they can learn those, I mean, complicated words?
Well,
are they going to learn about their kidney, where their heart are, where the kidney is? Is that the same thing?
I think learning where your heart is. Certainly, my 4-year-old granddaughter can tell you where her heart is, you know, and she knows the word penis. She has a brother, you know. I have 3 grandchildren, 2 granddaughters, and a grandson. And when my grandson was born, the 2 girls had questions about how he was different from them. You know?
It's not too early to focus their attention on those parts.
It's not a matter of focusing. Kids see differences among themselves. Kids want to know why one person's skin is a different color than another person's skin. I mean, you know, kids see differences, and what we have a responsibility to do, I think, as adults, is to embrace those differences and to help kids to understand that we're different, and that's the beauty of humanity. So, you know, what we know is that if kids can learn about their own bodies and they can understand about themselves, they can have a better opportunity to build healthy relationships. And so if a young child in grade 1 understands that it's not okay to touch someone if they don't want to be touched, that's a good thing, because what we know is that there are young kids who have been touched inappropriately in their lives, and we don't want that to happen. We want kids to be able to say no, or if it, God forbid, does happen to them, that they can say what has happened to them. But we come at this not from that negative, but from the positive of, we want kids to have healthy relationships. We just want them to be safe. And we know that at the age of 5 or 6, when kids enter grade 1, these are questions that they have. That's what the research and the evidence show us. The other thing is, and just to go back to the video, you know, I said to you earlier that politicians don't write curriculum. Deputy ministers don't write curriculum. Experts in curriculum write curriculum. Experts in the subject matter write curriculum. And so it's very important for parents to take a look at the material. We've got the material translated into, at this point, 7 different languages. It's online. There will be more languages that it will be translated into. And there's a parent's guide. There's a piece about the facts and the myths. And parents need to look at that, and they need to judge for themselves what's in the curriculum. And if at the end of that, after they look at the curriculum and they still feel concerned, they should talk to their teacher, they should talk to the principal in their school, and they're, you know, on a case-by-case basis, if they want to withdraw their child from a part of the lesson, a part of the class, they can do that. Okay, I hope they don't,
if they
but they
opt out
can.
From the class,
yeah.
Are they going to be assisted later on with that material that they didn't learn? Also, the other concern is they're going to hear about it from an untrusted source. They're going to hear about it from their friends.
But here's the thing.
That's about option.
Yeah,
too.
but here's the thing. That's why we're putting the curriculum in place, because they're going to hear about it later. They're going to hear it from their friends anyway. They're hearing it from their friends or from the internet or from the television now. That's why we're writing the curriculum. So that's why I hope parents don't choose to withdraw their kids from class, because we know that in 2015, based on the very best research available, this is information that kids need to have.
Yeah, but okay, let's go to grade 7. They're going to learn about oral sex and anal sex, and which are very complicated terms. Why do they need to learn in that early stage? I mean,
because we know
the families are concerned that it's their choice to educate their child about the romantic relationship. They feel that when they are more independent, let's say economically independent, they can make a decision of how they should lead their way. But when they are under their umbrella, they want to choose the right path for them. And also, one more thing you mentioned, we live in a beautiful country in Canada, and Ontario is a very diverse province. There's thousands or hundreds of thousands of immigrants who maintain their religious values, their cultural values, and they feel that this curriculum is eliminating their values, even though, in the oath.
So let me just...
We've been taught that we have to keep our beautiful values, merge them with the Canadian values. And as you can see now, we have this Arabic TV show where I can speak my language in Canada. So what would you say to that?
So I would say two things. First of all, as I said to you earlier, parents can, if they choose, they can withdraw their child after talking to their teacher and talking to the principal at the school. They can withdraw their child from part of the curriculum. And that's been the case for decades in Ontario. That has been the case for a very long time, that parents can withdraw their children. So that's in place. We're not trying in the education system to replace parents. Parents are the first and most important teachers of their children. But the fact is, many parents are uncomfortable talking about their kids talking to their kids about some of these subjects, or they're uncomfortable answering the questions, or the kids are uncomfortable. So if parents are uncomfortable, there needs to be somebody else who provides that information. And the first part of your question was. So you talked about the grade 7
for the anal and oral sex.
So part of the research that this curriculum is based on is what the activities that kids are engaged in at what age levels. And so what we know is that that's a subject that is very familiar to many kids at that age level, and it's something that kids need good information about. And it's one of the things that we know we want to protect kids from. We want them to be able to make good decisions about those things. But if they have no information about it, then it's very hard for them to make good decisions. And all of that research has been done, and it's been done very much in the light of what is it that kids are dealing with at what age group. And we may not, I'm 61 years old. I may not want to think that an 11 or a 12-year-old is thinking about those subjects, but in fact, they are. The fact is that there are kids who are thinking about those things, who are even engaged in those activities, and so we want to make sure that they understand what's safe, what's not safe, so that they can be protected.
Okay, there's a lot of comments that we have received online.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's not enough time. I've been asked to end this interview, but I've been requested from the well-informed, because one of your comments in the last media reception that you were saying that you feel that many parents are misinformed, and you also claimed that the protests are being held by the Conservative Party.
That's one of the groups that's agitating.
So,
for sure. Well, we know that. Yeah.
I mean, I've been handling this from different communities who call themselves well-informed parents, and they have a proposal for changes. All what I want from this interview is to help them understand the curriculum, and also if lines has been crossed in this curriculum, we hope it's going to be modified, because we're talking about the future of Canada, who are the children.
Well, so we've talked. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm happy to take this. But this curriculum has been consulted on for years by many groups across the province, and we're going to implement it in September. And my hope is that parents will have the opportunity to read the whole thing and understand what's in it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time. مشاهدينا بنرجع لكم بعد الفاصل. ولهون مشاهدينا وصلنا لنهاية الحلقة اليوم. حاولت قد ما أقدر أني أطرح الأسئلة اللي أرسلتوا لي إياها، لكن للأسف كنا كتير محدودين بالوقت، لكن إن شاء الله بنحاول نعمل لقاء آخر معها لقدام، وإن شاء الله تكونوا استفدتوا من المعلومات اللي قدمنا لكم إياها اليوم. بنشوفكم بالأسبوع القادم. مع السلامة.